Hi everyone, thank you for joining me for the last video in the series of demonstration tutorials in how to work with your A Year in Flowers from Fleurs. In this one, of course, we have the month December, which wouldn't be complete if it wasn't holly. Now look at the amount of dies you're actually getting within this. You're getting all of these dies, some with embossing in there. They do nest together as well, but they're all going to give you unique and different shapes each time you cut these out. Okay, so you've got a variety to work with, which means for your smaller projects, even small fillers, or maybe if you're going to work with really large projects, whether it's home decor, or maybe it's to add to a spray or a wreath already, they've got one in there for every single project. Okay, so what I've got down here is I've got a variety already cut out, and I'm going to show you in the simplest form how to assemble your holly. And this is a really, like I say, a really simple way to do it. I've worked with foam because of course we've done this in every video, so I didn't want to change it. I wanted to keep it the same for you. But with paper and card, cutting these can give you really nice effects as well if you wanted to maybe add some of your paints onto here and things like that, if you're going to sort of match them with other Christmas festive flowers you've got in your collections already. So I've got some different lengths of wire already cut here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my pieces of foam here that's cut into the largest petal, and if I run just a bead of glue straight down the center like this, and I'm going to take my wire and just add it on like this. Okay, what you can do is make this double-sided if you wanted to, but in this particular project we're going to imagine that it's being viewed only from the front, so maybe this would be going on a wreath that was flat against a wall. It wouldn't be something that would be like a vase of flowers that would sit central to a room where it can be viewed at all angles, so it wouldn't really be seen the back, but it wouldn't really be a problem if we were. But this means we can then bend this, and the flower, or the holly leaf if you like, keeps the shape of the wire. How amazing is that? Which means you can position these, so you could have a curl in there if you wanted to, and the wire, like that, will keep the shape of the foam. So what I'm going to do is repeat this process on a few different size pieces of holly. Now I've used the same shade of green throughout this kit, and the reason for that is because I wanted to just show you consistency through this video, so you actually get an understanding of how to construct it. And then of course colouring, different sizes, all that sort of stuff can come into play as you're exploring with these. So I'm going to start in with the largest tip at the bottom like this, placing my wire in the centre. Now I've got some smaller pieces. I'm going to snip this wire here, this one's quite long, I'm going to snip that in half, and then I'm going to take some of my smaller pieces here and just sort of add that glue straight over, and it'll instantly grab to the wire. We've got some really nice pieces. I love this one because there's so much different character in it. It's different from all of the others. It's not, the thing is with this kit, it's not the same shape of holly, but it's just been sized differently every single time, which means you would get the same but just in different sizes. They're all different, so you have a different amount of points on there, different spacing between the points. Some of them are elongated, some of them are slightly shorter. You've got the variety with this, so you know that when you've got a spray of holly, you can make it look as realistic or artificial as you want. But of course with these dies as well, because you do have that nested shape, so with this one, a really good advantage is you could sort of like use it as a cookie cutter. So if you're doing icing for cakes and stuff, you can use it as a template or press it into thin fondant rolled out icing, which means of course you can decorate your cakes with it. Of course, if you're going to use food with that, have a die set for your crafting, have a die set for your cake making, that sort of thing. So I'm going to take some more of my wire here and just snip this down to make it slightly smaller. And we're going to use the teeny tiny little ones. I'm going to add my glue to the stem for this, but my teeny tiny ones are just going to go straight on here like that. And I'm going to do the same with this one. Where did I pop that wire? There it is, it's hidden. A little bit of glue on there. Okay, so I'm going to keep working with this, do a few more of these. And this is how quick it really is to assemble your holly. There we go. So we're going to add a little bit more. I've got some more wire here to the side. So I'm going to take my hot glue. I'm going to work with this one here. And I've just noticed actually, I've not used this one, this larger one. So I'm going to snip this piece of wire down probably to about here. And another piece as well. And we'll add a bit more hot glue to this one. Now you're probably thinking, I've done this 2 different ways now. You can do it exactly how you want to. And of course you can flip them round, use the large bit. So I've been attaching the large bit to the wire, but do them different ways, alternate it, make it look a bit different. I'm going to add my glue this time to the foam, like I started with. Here we are. I just got into the habit of adding it to the wire then. So what I can do is a few of these that have dried and set, I can shape them round. So we've got some lovely shape going off with our holly. And of course it's going to retain that shape because it's the actual stem of the wire that is guiding the foam into that direction, which means of course any areas after that you can then roll these up, shape them, scrunch them, do whatever you want to. If you're using your irons for this, or your heat tools or your shaping tools, go ahead and do that as well, because you'll get different shapes. But what I love about this is that if it's showed up on the camera, you'll be able to see it, but you actually get a central vein when you use the foam. And the reason for that is because we've pressed with the glue and the wire into it, which means you get that vein that runs through the center, which I just think looks really good because it adds that realistic touch. So we're going to fold these around, any that I've got the wire on. I've got a few left over, and of course I can always add these in if I want to as fillers afterwards. Really is optional. And these 2 little last ones, just going to add a bit of shaping on there. So we're going to start off with a central stem, like we did with some of our other flowers, like our delphinium and our gladioli. So it's quite a similar process, but of course take it down however you wish. I'm going to start with these small ones and just wrap those around like that. Take one of the other ones here and wrap that round as well. Okay, so work into that central stem, and then the very top little bit here, I'm just going to snip that one off because we don't actually need that. I think that just pinged off somewhere, I don't know where that went, but we don't need that little top bit there. I'm going to add a tiny bit of glue just there, just to hold that in place while I then start to work with the rest of my holly leaves. So we're going to work our way up. We've got this one here. I'm going to start to wrap this one round. Okay, so wrap that round like that and start to just keep on building up with size order with these. Now if you wanted to, of course, you could create 10 of these and start with just that one. If it's a small project, like I mentioned earlier, whether it's just going on the corner of a card, or maybe it's just slotting into a small assortment or a small spray, or maybe you've done like a central candle piece for a table. You just wanted to add a slight few little petals in there, you can do that. You don't have to use all the sizes, but they're there for you. So I'm just wrapping these round each time like this, just twisting it with my finger and thumb. And then I'm going to bring in some of those larger ones, okay? And then once it's all twisted together, I can start to shape it and tweak them how I want them to sort of position. Here we are. So I'm going to make some slightly longer with a longer stem. There we are. A little bit more. There we go. Just like that. I'm going to keep building these up. So you can see there how it's just come to life. Just by twisting these stems together, you've got all of this holly in this big sort of bouquet, this big bunch of holly, and it's come to life just like that, which I just think is amazing. It really is incredible. It's so easy to assemble, which is just from start to finish, minutes. So you can see here, I can then go around and you can just position these wherever you want to. These will look really nice with some red berries in there, or if you've got some red paint, put spots of red paint, or even if you've got some of your structure pastes or your sort of snowy looking pastes, put those on all the tips. And that's how you can sort of work. So you can see in this die set, all of the different dyes that we've got can give you an effect like this. And that's using just one gradient, one colour of the forest green foam. But then think of how many options you've got. If you've got your printed backgrounds, or maybe some of your USBs with different backgrounds in there, different woodland effects, or maybe just different overlays of green foliage, they look brilliant. Of course, holly, when you look at it, there's bits on there that have dried and gone old, but they're still stuck to the plant. So you can sort of build these up as realistic as you want to. But that is how to work with your December holly. So that was the last flower that we worked with in this series of demonstrations. I hope you've enjoyed it, and do drop down any questions or comments below on the videos. Thank you.